All right. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Neil Harden. I'm chairing today's panel. With me via Zoom are Bill Maretsky and Diane Knight. The assessor today is Nathan Kupfer, and the hearing secretary is Stephen Lund. We will be hearing applications for revision of the business assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act and the City of Winnipeg Charter. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made this hearing are sworn testimony. Anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that have been mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, and the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item in the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information on public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 3 and 4 on our docket today. Mr. Lund, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Nathan Kupfer.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Oliveros, please stand. Please state your full name.
Ryan Oliveros.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. Good morning once again. The first property today is 2100 McGilvery Boulevard. So, Mr. Kupfer, you can begin.
Mr. Chair, I believe that one was withdrawn by 15-1.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. 2659 Pembina.
I can do that.
Okay.
It's file number 2022-4519. Street address 2659 Pembina Highway, business assessment ID 933. This is an owner-occupied Assiniboine credit union with a total premise area of 6,265 square feet, a base ARV of $30.79. With our occupancy costs, that you can see that works out to a total ARV per square foot of $33.29, or a total ARV for the year of $208,560. And I'm going to recommend that ARV be maintained today. Following this, we have the Board of Revision Realty decision. We've been very consistent with these. As you can see, the decision is based on the net operating income presented by our department, and then they increased the capitalization rate to 6.5%. That resulted in a reduction to $2,806,000 for the realty. Following that, I've done a workup for you to show exactly how that would play in. So 6,265 square feet. Using the $30.79 gives you that net operating income specified by the board, 6.5% cap rate, and we're at $2,806,000. So the math all checks out. I've attached our realty brief beyond that in case there's any questions or concerns about it. Like I said, this is owner occupied. It's a newer credit union, so it rents quite well. We've got it modeled at $30.79 a foot, which I see is reasonable in this case. And I'm going to recommend again that ARB be maintained. Thank you.
All right, questions?
Yes, just one question here. I'm looking at page 3 of your evidence, Mr. Cupper. And I just cannot put notes that the board's conclusions weren't included. Looks like it was just blanked out there.
No, it's included under the panel hereby orders as follows.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I'm just used to it being in that section. Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
All right, Diane, any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Bill?
So your number then is not model driven, it's based on the realty assessment, correct?
Both, sir, because the order does not reduce the operating income, it does not reduce the rents. That same model-driven ARV is being maintained and not changed.
So your rent comparables then on page 10? Are those part of this brief?
Yes, so I attached, like I said, the entire original realty brief. I haven't changed any of the comparables that were used. These are all banks or credit unions. I believe I used for the majority of my bank appeals throughout the cycle. As you can see, we've got an average a little over $26 a foot there. This is a newer building. I think I said it's a 2008, so it's not surprising to me that we've got it modeled slightly higher than what we're showing in the average here.
$4 higher than the average.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, no further questions.
Okay, just looking at those same comparables, which that one on 2785 Pembina, can you tell us more about it? It seems to be the newest, about the same age and same general area of the city.
So I'm showing that's a BMO, a Bank of Montreal. Like you point out, it's also a newer bank. So I think it's relatively comparable. It's also quite close in square footage. So I think you correctly identified that as probably one of the strongest in terms of approximating the subject.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, you can begin there, Mr. Applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so the subject property is at 2659 Pembina Highway. The roll number is 933. File number is 22-4519. We're requesting the board on page 2 of my evidence here to reduce the ARV, the 2023 ARV from $208,560 to $203,640. Now I know Mr. Cupper did allude to the board's order. I do just want to make it clear that we have appealed that order to the Manitoba Municipal Board. So just to state that point. Going on to page 4 of my evidence here. So we're looking at a 1-story retail bank. It's an Assiniboine credit union. You'll see that photo on page 2 of my evidence. It's located again at 2659 Pembina Highway, just north of Beardmore Boulevard. It's a fairly newer building, construction in 2008, with a leasable area of 6,265 square feet. The site area is 1.6 acres and is zoned C2. Going to page 5 of my evidence here. So we are applying the same premise area as the city in this case at 6,265 square feet. We've provided a range of comparables here, 14 in total. They range in age from 1978 here to 2005. Leasable areas ranging from 2,100 square feet to 9,122 square feet. And the lease rates per square foot range from $20 per square foot to $33. So based on these comparables here, I am recognizing that the building is newer than the comparables that I've listed here. So considering that we've applied a rate of $30 per square foot, that works out to an annual rent of $187,950. And if we flip onto page 6 of my evidence, the total ARV applying that adjusted rent there is $203,640. The balance of my evidence here is just the property characteristics, as well as the income and expense mailer, just showing that the premise itself is owner occupied. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Mr. Cupler?
Quite a few. You stated that you appealed the realty decision to the municipal board,
Yes,
and from what I can tell, the only difference in your workup is you've adjusted the rent by 79 cents. Is that correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Why- Why would that be appealed to the municipal board if the only change is an adjustment to the rent of 79 cents?
See here. Look at the board's order. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I just gotta pull up our administration files here. Okay, so it says here, yeah, so we did appeal the board's decision to the municipal board. I just need to look back to the realty. Looks like we are also aiming to adjust the cap rate to 6.75%. Or sorry, we were requesting a cap rate of 7%. And to adjust the rent to $30 per square foot, as well as applying the non-recoverable expense allowance. So it was based on those two factors that we appealed to the municipal board. So we do want the business assessment to follow the realty assessment. In this case, that's standard, and that's our logic in continuing with this business assessment appeal.
Altus's position is that a 2008 bank on Pembina should be capped at 7%, and that's why it was appealed to the municipal board, correct?
Capped at 7% if the non-recovered expense allowance would not be applied. That's correct.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you.
All right, Bill, questions?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Diane, any questions?
Just in regards to your comparables, I've got to get back to that page now. You have nothing 2008 in there. Is that
No,
correct?
that's correct. Our
So
comparable would
which-
be index number 14
The 2005 at the 9,000?
at the 9,000, yes.
So at 9,000 square feet, would that rent be higher or lower than 6,200 square feet?
At 9,000 square feet, it would be lower, and then we are at the $30 per square foot rate.
Mhm. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, just looking at those comparables again, whether the rent is $30 or $30.79, it would seem to land around between year fifth and sixth comparables.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of a fine hair to be splitting on that rental rate?
I mean, yes, I would agree with that. We're looking at a larger space here, so I mean, economies of scale, we'd expect it to be lower, but we also recognize that the property is newer, being built in 2008, so it requires an adjustment for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I have no more questions. And I will move my writing pad so I can see the final column on my docket here. Next, we move to 2799 Pembina. So, Mr. Cupfer, you can begin.
File number 22-4420. Street address is 2799 Pembina. Business assessment ID 1243. We have a TD Canada Trust at this location. The premise area is 4,505 square feet. We have a base ARV of just under $32. As you can see, $31.99. With occupancy costs, that works at the $34.50 or a total ARV of $155,400. I am again recommending that the ARV be maintained. I have attached the realty order, again showing that we had total confirmation here. I've attached the realty brief. Beyond that, as you can see, we've got some photos. I haven't changed any of the comparables. Page 5 of the realty brief there shows the bank workup, 4,505 square feet, like I said, at $31.99 a foot. And all the way down at the bottom, I've attached the income and expense information, showing that this one isn't owner occupied, but that they are paying a rent recently escalated to $30.50 a foot, which shows that we're modeling here within about $1.50 a foot, which is pretty darn close. Based on all of that, like I said, the realty was confirmed, and I am asking for the BA to be confirmed as well. Thank you.
All right. Questions, Ryan?
I do, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just going on to page 2 of your evidence here, now the realty assessment that was appealed by Colliers, correct? Or Colliers was the agent representing the property?
Correct.
Okay. And if we go on to page 3 of the realty evidence, looking at the comparables here. Now, you've included the lease for the subject property itself at $30.50 a square foot. Can I ask why that wouldn't be applied to the business assessment?
The business assessment is being modeled as the realty assessment was also modeled.
Okay, so it's not based on the actual lease in place?
No, it's never based on the actual lease in place. It's based on the model.
Would you agree that the actual, like any actual lease in place would be more indicative of what the property would actually achieve?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, those are all my questions.
All right. Bill, any questions?
What is the age of the building?
Between 1996 and 1998, it's actually two buildings, one roll there. As you can see, it's a McDonald's and a TD on one roll there, and the two buildings were constructed between 96 and 98.
Can you point that out where that is?
Page 1 of my realty brief there shows the actual and effective years built.
Just bear with me for a moment there.
I
Okay.
apologize for the inconsistent page numberings there.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, so your rent comparables are an average of 26, 22,
Yeah, no changes to the comparables.
and your rent is at 31.79.
Yep, it's a well-located building. It's on the newer end, like I said. The actual rent in place is within about 5% of what we're modeling. Generally, we're quite happy with that, and we're not seeking to make any sort of change. If the rent was $1.50 higher than what we're modeling, again, we wouldn't be seeking to make any sort of change. This is just what we would call acceptable within a model parameter here.
You said the building was on the newer end?
96 and 98, yes. So in the last 25 years.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay, Diane, any questions?
So just in this case, this bank is at a higher rental rate than the previous one, but it's 10 years 10 years older. So was this one redone inside or something to make the difference?
Well, it's a good question. Well, we don't have any effective age being applied
Mhm.
within our modeling system. So I don't think that could be a factor of renovations. It could likely be a factor of sizing here. I think it's about 2,000 square feet smaller than the last bank that we discussed, which
Oh,
would
right,
probably push
yes.
the rent up by a couple dollars a foot.
Yes,
That's what I
okay.
would guess.
All right, thank you.
All right, I have no questions. So Ryan, you can begin your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip on to page 2 of my evidence. We're asking the board to reduce the ARV from $155,400 to $148,500 for the 2023 assessment year. So the subject is a TD Canada Trust. It's wood frame construction built in 1996 and has a leasable area of 4,500 square feet. We have site area of 1.1 acres and it is zone C2. So the actual lease in place for the subject now was signed in 2006, but there was a step up on February 1st of 2021 for $30.50 a square foot. I provided the same comparables that I have in the previous property here. So they range from $20 a square foot to $33 per square foot. And they are indicative of newer, well-located, high-quality banks or credit union spaces. So, I mean, based on the actual lease in place here, you can see that it falls well within the range of the comparables that I've identified here. And I believe that should put into rest like any doubt as to what rent should actually be applied on this property. So given that, we have arrived at an ARV adding the total occupancy costs going to page 6 of my evidence here of $148,500. And the balance of my brief here is just the building details of the entire property itself. Now, section 1 there, that is the bank itself. And on page 10 here, I've included the rent roll for this property, and you can see the rent for the TD Canada Trust is at $30.50, starting on February 1st of 2021. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Mr. Kupfer?
Got one bank on Pembina in your comparables list, and you don't give the address, and you don't give how many stories it is. Can you tell us more about that comparable, number 14?
One thing. Okay, so it's part of a multi-tenant property here. The street number is 2055, and just to add, we do not include the street numbers to maintain the confidentiality.
It's a multi-tenant property?
Sorry. Yes, it's a multi-tenant property.
How many stories is it?
Okay. It's just not readily available here. Give me 1 second. We're looking at a 1-story bank.
1,000 square foot, one-story bank built in 2005, renting for $20, and you can't tell me which bank it is?
Oh, which bank it is? Okay, I didn't hear that part. Okay, it is, I thought you said how many stories. It is a Royal Bank.
Okay, Ryan. I have no more questions.
All right, Diane, any questions?
Is this being appealed as well to the municipal board?
For this bank, we actually didn't work the realty file, so I'm not aware if this is being appealed to the municipal board.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill, questions?
All those lease comparables on page 5 are all banks and credit unions, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, and I can list out which banks and credit unions they are if the board requires that.
You want me to answer that question, Mr. Chair?
I don't, well, as far as I'm concerned, knowing that they're banks and credit unions is good enough for me, but I don't particularly care which ones they are, but
Okay, I don't need to know that either, so. I have no further questions. Thank you.
okay. The one question I have is, are all these standalone structures, or are they part of a mall, or what?
Okay, so index number 5, 7, 12, 13, and 15, those are the standalone banks.
Okay.
And then the remaining properties, yeah, I believe they're part of a multi-tenanted property.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And would that impact on the rent achievable by if it's standalone or part of a mall?
Yeah, I mean, I believe with a standalone, you could probably, a landlord could probably get more, a higher rent for a standalone bank, given that they may have their own parking and such.
Okay. All right. I guess I have no more questions then. So thank you very much for your presentations. We've heard the last all item schedule, and this hearing is now adjourned. So thank you for your capable presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you.